Yes, enjoy the silence, Depeche Mode, coming up for the top of the hour here on the weekday brunch with me, Jason Black. It's Friday, and Friday at 10 o'clock is always a special day because we have the man with the brain that knows more about marketing than other people with brains. Good morning, Mr. Barnes.
The Hong Kong Visa Geezer at your service, Mr. Black.
I really enjoyed reading up a little bit of the information you sent me today. Kevin Kelly, of course, one of your intellectual heroes, and 1,000 true fans. Going to be an interesting chat today.
Yeah, 1,000 true fans. It's a sort of a milestone that everybody who is thinking about developing some kind of proposition on the internet where they're going to exchange value of some sort or another. The idea is to have an expertise or be able to deliver such compelling value that 1,000 people around the world will be prepared basically to spend $100 each year with you because they have so much respect and admiration. They get so much value out of what you do and how you complement their lives and help them achieve their objectives and goals, that whatever you put out, they will spend. They'll buy it from you. And if you get 1,000 of those people and they'll each spend $100 a year with you, then, as I say, as a starting idea for an internet proposition, get yourself 1,000 true fans as your first target, and they'll give you $100,000 a year in income. And basically, anybody can live off $100,000 a year in income.
I find that quite interesting. Does it sound like a lot of people to have 1,000 fans? But when you have a look at the size of the world, and if you are doing it via the internet, it's not a lot of people at all. Now, I remember last week.
Exactly, that's right.
You said you've got 150,000 people that hit your sites.
Well, that's our tribe, yeah. Our true fans. Well, I can tell you, we have more than 1,000 true fans because we have a lot more than $100,000 a year that come our way. And there's 26 people in my organization now, so I'd expect that to be the case. But the lesson behind this is that if you're interested in developing an intelligent content marketing proposition, such as we've done at the Hong Kong Visa Center, and you're going to publish using WordPress in the way that we have done at the Hong Kong Visa Center, and you're going to construct your proposition so that you deliver value uniquely and you help your fans answer questions and solve problems. Going after an initial target of 1,000 people is completely within the realms of possibility for anybody.
One of the other interesting points, besides the money aspect of it, he said you need to have a direct relationship with all of those people. How do you have a direct relationship with a lot of people, and yet it still feels personal and on a one-to-one basis?
There's technologies that you can use to automate all your correspondence and communications. You obviously can put together webinars and other opportunities for people to gather in groups on your on your website so that you can address the whole group. So there's a gazillion ways to do that. It doesn't necessarily have to be direct one-to-one every exchange, but you package your value and you deliver it, and then you make yourself available to support and answer questions in some sort of structured format. And as Kevin Kelly says, and other people say too, it's a lot easier to sell stuff to people you've already got a relationship with, they're already the customer, than trying to go out and generate new relationships and find new buyers for your stuff. So once you've got your tribe and you nurture them and you treat them with respect and you continue to deliver value to them so that they can get out of the relationship that which they had invested by coming into it with you and obviously putting their money into it, and it's a completely winning proposition.
And if you were just starting out in business and you said, right, I want to, my first milestone is 1,000 true fans, what is a reasonable time to expect to be able to get that?
Oh, well, you've got to win your relationships one at a time, Jason. So that fiscally you're going to aim for 1,000. That's your benchmark, knowing that that's completely attainable. but you put your head down and you start to develop your proposition, you start to publish to it, and you start to get the attention of people. And then once you've won their attention, you can anticipate having some sort of relationship with them, and then give them more value. And then at some point, whatever it is that you've got to purchase, a percentage of them will buy from you. And then once they've purchased from you, the nature of the relationship changes at that point, and there's a pretty good chance that they'll buy other stuff from you as well if it's going to, complement their lives in some meaningful way. So yeah, start off in your mind that the mission is accomplished once you've achieved 1,000 true fans, but recognize that you're going to win your relationships one at a time. And depending what it is that you do, and the way that you take it to market, and the way that you develop that proposition, the way that it appeals, and of course the actual tangible, realistic size of the potential tribe that you've got, will all sort of denote how fast and how efficiently you'll be able to attain 1,000 true fans. But the truth is, it's a modest number, as you've pointed out, and it's completely attainable.
Now, how do you invest in that word of mouth or customer referral? Because that's a very powerful endorsement when somebody is singing your praises for you. You don't have to do it. It's actually much more powerful when somebody else does it. How do you invest in that?
Well, having a rock solid proposition, basically putting together something that is remarkable, and contains an irresistible offer, bundled up with an idea virus, be seen to be generous, support your tribe, make yourself available, just be a really good person that's obviously making a living out of the expertise that you've got, but treat people with respect and recognize that if you can create good relationships with people, then the word will spread.
Now that goes counter to everything that people initially believe with you giving everything away for free. So it's as you read, if you have a look through the Technium and his piece on 1,000 true fans, it's a numbers game. It's $100 times 1,000 people. It's $100,000. So you've got to weigh that up against giving all of that stuff out for free.
Well, yes and no, right? On the one hand, you're going to have to deliver value unconditionally to probably, maybe 50 or 60 times that number of people before you're actually able to coalesce on 1,000 true fans. So, the act of being generous and giving material away to people for free unconditionally, that's making art, that's reaching out and creating relationships. What you keep in reserve, so to speak, is the good stuff, the kind of the crown jewels that have to be revealed every so often, and obviously you pay for those. But that doesn't mean that you're holding absolutely everything back. You're just saying, look, I have to make a living, and whilst I'm giving you 98% of what I know completely for free, there is a small part of that exchange that is held back because that's ultimately what we're selling. And what we're selling, ultimately, you're going to have to pay for. So what we sell, as you know, is peace of mind, and that's what people pay for.
Now, one of the things that you've always said is the difference between the old economy and the new connection economy. And I wanted to read you something from the article. Now, here's the thing. The big corporation, the intermediates, the commercial producers are all under-equipped and ill-suited to connect with these 1,000 true fans. They are institutionally unable to find and deliver niche audiences and consumers. That means the long tail is wide open to you, the creator. You have your 1 in a million true fans to yourself, and the tools for connecting to them gets better, including recent innovations like social media. It's never been easier to gather 1,000 true fans around a creator, and never easier to keep them near. I suppose that goes to your proposition of good quality content.
Well, indeed, yes, it answers questions and solves problems. The thing about the industrial economy and the industrial economy behemoths that control vast swathes of economic activity after 150 years of the industrial economy being in full steam, is that they're designed to produce average stuff for average people. They've always been out there, the so-called mass market. well, that mass market really is no longer a function of how we are organized, because mass markets accrued through limited means of communication previously, radio, television, cinemas, means to address, larger numbers of people rather than individuals. And the industrial economy, the entire commercial dynamic behind it was to basically advertise, get people to buy stuff, take your profits, and then take some of those profits and put more into advertising, and then repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. Understanding that you're going to sell something that was designed for potentially everybody to buy, not really caring too much about the fact that a large portion of the so-called audience that you'd be addressing through your mass media techniques wouldn't just simply not be interested in that stuff. So now what you have with the connection economy and ubiquitous connections and everybody becoming a publisher just by owning, in a sense, a hand phone, you've got the opportunity to reach up to 1,000 people and create 1,000 true fans in that fashion. And that's not commonly understood. And Kevin Kelly is absolutely right when he talks about the big industrial players not being geared up institutionally or organizationally in any way, shape, or form to be able to go down at the micro level and forge 1,000 relationships with 1,000 true fans.
Do you think there's a danger if we invest too heavily personally in social media? If you say that social media is one of the things that exploded people's ability to connect, if there's such a backlash coming because of the politicization of it, is there a danger that people shy away from it in the future and you lose your opportunity or the base that you've built up on social media platforms?
Well, yeah, that's a great point. So if you're going to do this, you absolutely don't just develop a Facebook page and then run your entire business around that Facebook page, because if you do that, Facebook own your business. You don't own the business. So what you have to understand is that you take a WordPress website and you use your WordPress website, which you own, against your domain on your server, that hosts all of your content, that is the place where your visitors come to. And then you use the social media channels as a means to amplify the content that you produce on your own websites. So you would do your post on your WordPress website, and then you send a copy of that post or a link to that post over to your Facebook page and distribute it on LinkedIn and distribute it via Twitter and what have you, so that material is coming to the attention of your wider tribe via the social media platforms, but you're not asking them to hang out with you on those social media platforms. You're actually inviting them to click on the links that brings you back to your platform where you are, and your WordPress platform, and that's the one that you own. So yeah, it's a fool's errand to try and build a business on one of the big social media sites. Not only for the reasons that you suggest, but simply because, these Facebook, they change their policies all the time as to what you can and what you can't do. And with a single stroke, your entire proposition could just be wiped off the internet, just because you don't fit to somebody else's business model anymore.
So it's a means to an end, but you shouldn't invest in it too much, huh?
Well, it's content amplification. So what we do is we publish on our websites, and then we make sure that copies of all our content get distributed through to the social media sites. And there we will have conversations with people. If they don't come back to the website because they prefer to have an exchange on Facebook, we'll happily have that exchange on Facebook. But all of that is peripheral to the main game, and the main game is mothership, where your WordPress website, which you own, control, and direct. It's your own piece of the internet to the exclusion of everybody else. And that's where you sink your proposition down deep over time into the fabric of the internet by mapping the knowledge graph, because you've answered all the questions that can possibly be asked in that in your particular niche. And you then go on to become recognized by Google as the go-to place for definitive information on that particular niche. And it's a self-fulfilling virtuous cycle if you do it that way.
Now, what would you say is a reasonable amount of time to actually to contact your tribe? I don't think I'm any different from the average person in the street in that I don't mind receiving some information every now and again. Like, I still get yours and I still find them interesting because obviously I know you, but it's the subject and the way that it's written I find quite interesting. a lot of the stuff that I get, I wish they wouldn't send it to me. And obviously,
Yeah.
if you're on both ends of it, being a receiver of information, but also wanting to be somebody that sends out information to a tribe, how do you get that balance without basically pissing anybody off?
Well, yeah, great question. So this is Seth Godin's and permission marketing, and the way that we do this, right, is we ask ourselves, amongst our tribe, is there anybody out there that would complain that he didn't hear from us because of the nature of the value that we were giving away?
Mm.
So the only time that we ever communicate with our tribe is when we have something of real value that's going to enhance their lives in some way. Now, they may not be interested in it at the point that we deliver it to them because of timing or things going on in their lives or otherwise. But when we communicate, we only communicate to say, hey, I'm giving a talk. You may find this interesting. It's completely free. Oh, and by the way, and if you come, we'll give you a 1 hour free studio time in the Video Cha-Cha studio, for example.
Okay.
We just make sure that our communications, when they're received in a way so that the person receiving can't be disgruntled because, we've tried to steal some attention from them or a space on their inbox, even if it's just for a minuscule moment in time. Recognizing people's attention is the most valuable thing where you've got a connection economy based on abundance and not on scarcity. So, respecting people's attention is the game, and the way that we do that is only communicate when we have real value to deliver. If there's no value to deliver, we don't communicate, because all that will happen is that the subscriber list that you get, they just get whittled down to nothing because you just over communicate with them and people aren't interested in it. And by the same token, if you're sending materials that on such a frequent basis that that people can't consume all of that stuff, whatever it is that you're doing, it's just going to get ditched and put in your inbox. So there, less is more, absolutely.
Well, when you were out here last, you met Gulu, the owner of Moorcroft Manor, the hotel that I like to work with, and we've been working on the social media for that side. And the most effective posts that we have are the ones that go to what we actually do, why we do it, and how we do it. There's never, ever been a hard sell approach on the social media, not like, oh, come and have this, it's this discount, it's that discount, it's this is what we do in the kitchen, these are the ingredients we use, and this is how much fun we have doing it. And those posts are the ones that actually get the most traction.
And there's no surprise there, because there's no surprise there, Jason, because what you're doing in the way that you do that is you're putting ever more layers on top of your story, right? It's the Moorcroft story. And humans respond to stories. And so you can, in a sense, you can gain people's attention by educating them and surprising them and sort of giving them something to think about. But at the same time, become part of the awareness mission. When you're telling your stories in a mini fashion or in a cohesive, big chunk fashion, however you do it. So it's all ultimately about storytelling, and if you know how to tell a story that's worth telling and tell it in such a way that it adds value to people's lives in some small way, you'll win.
Now, you mentioned your video production, Video Cha-Cha, and I know that your business model and the way that you deliver content has changed over the years that I've known you. You went from written content to visual video content. What drove that?
Well, great question.
What about the good questions?
Well, I know you're asking. I think did I send you a list in advance? Prompt you? No, I don't think I did.
Nice
well done,
try.
Jason.
Nice try.
When I first started out, right, I was almost bankrupt. So the only technology that I had available to me that I could use was the written word. Just typing it up. And so that's how I started off with written content. But then pretty quickly, I realized, I knew, because when I'd written the first version of the Hong Kong Visa Handbook back in 1996, which was just flat text, the internet didn't have the prowess or capability at that point to deliver feature-rich content. So, fast forward 10 years or so, when I'm rewriting the Hong Kong Visa Handbook and having another go at it, my mission at that point then was to produce content that was 10 times better than anybody else, and realize that the cost of producing feature-rich content had plummeted down to not much more than the cost of actually producing just text-based content. And so I gradually shifted into self-made videos in order to get my face on stuff and communicate in a way differently from just mere flat text. And then from that, we just kicked on because we made money out of that, and we were able to invest in high quality content propositions. So I was able to bring on colleagues that I found via Elance and Fiverr and what have you. And then began to sort of mix the content mix up, by bringing on these other additional resources that were all effectively, cost effective. And we just got to a point where I knew that we needed to become a video production company because we were becoming a publishing concern. And it was all driven sort of just by the dynamics of having been successful with early content, which was just flat text, of course, as everybody would normally start out with. But it's not so much the nature of the content, but it's the quality of the content and how it actually delivers value that's important. And if you start off in that guise just by writing stuff, there's no doubt that you'll be able to generate revenues in due course that will allow you to reinvest, some of those earnings back into a higher content proposition, and end up, as we've done, to become a publisher with a video production concern over time. And there's 6 creatives in our team now, which is not bad given that 7 years ago it was just me and PowerPoint and Martin sticking the posts up on the internet via WordPress.
Now, I know that you monitor the hits on the website, and I'm sure you also monitor how long people actually spend reading or watching your content. How much time do you think people devote to it? And if you were going to go out with a strategy to say, right, I want to give credible content, but I know people have X amount of time that they're prepared to give me, what would you say that amount of time is?
Well, it just depends how keen and eager they are to consume your content, because of the value that it delivers to them, right? So it just depends from niche to niche. What I can tell you is that the way our websites perform is that we create 350 to 400 new relationships every day, and that the average visitor is spending just over 3 minutes on our website. And is visiting 3 pages in that time. So basically it means that they've been able to get what they want out of our websites within 3 clicks and within 3 minutes. And that's the result, because people don't stick around websites just for the sake of sticking around. Once they've got what you've got, you move on. So 3 minutes is not bad. Plus, there's also a statistic that you can garner from Google Analytics, which tells you how sticky your content is, and that's called the bounce rate. So if somebody's searching on Google for one particular thing, and then they end up on your website, if they see the website they've come on doesn't actually accord with the reason why they've done that search in the first place, they bounce straight off. So that's called the bounce rate. And our bounce rate is about 6%. So 94% of people that come onto our website, typically via a search, are sticking around and visiting 3 pages, and they're with us for about 3 minutes, as I say. And that's 94% of people.
And that goes back to what you were saying last week, in that you set this up with the possible number of questions that people would probably ask, and therefore created answers for that. Therefore, they stay with you longer. It's not a hit and miss. It's very, very strategic.
Yeah, it's all focus. You go to a website because you're looking for something specifically, right? And if you grasp that nettle and you deliver a web proposition that dovetails into the reason why they would come to your website in the first place, then you're home and hosed. Most business owners think that a website is kind of like a complimentary online brochure where they can get some information about their offline business. But that's not the case at all. The world today is on the internet, and your proposition should be on the internet. And your offline proposition, well, just supports your online initiatives, in my view.
I just received a comment on WhatsApp, about aggressive Facebook marketing and how that actually pushes customers away rather than attracting them. One brand in particular is probably putting out 7 or 8 bits of content a day.
Well, it's a numbers game. Yeah, it's a numbers game, and it's an internet marketing game. And there are probably 200,000, 300,000 young whiz kids that understand certain dynamics of the internet and understand how to gain people's attention via Facebook feeds and pull them off Facebook and get them onto a single page where they sell stuff. And they might pay $1 for that visitor. And then they sell a product for $30, so they get a $29 net profit, right? That's kind of what that's all about. We go a lot deeper than that. We're interested in long-term relationships. We're not just interested in quick sales. And it's the difference between, direct response marketing, say leafleting a neighborhood and sticking leaflets in people's mailboxes, and actually, taking the trouble of knocking on the door and introducing yourself and making yourself available and, suggesting that if you've got any problems that they need help with, you're the man to do it. In a theoretical sense, that's the difference between the approach that we take and the approach that these internet marketeers take, and that lead to the observation that's just been made by your listener on WhatsApp about Facebook just being in the stream, being inundated with stuff that you're more than likely not interested in.
Now, you say that you've grown your tribe, and we were just talking about you getting 400 unique visitors coming to your site, and they spend 3 minutes there. At what point do you invite them to subscribe, to give you an email so that you can provide them with further content, or is that further on down that relationship?
No, it's all there for them. The websites are designed to basically give them everything that they need in a certain way, and then if they want to access other types of material that next level of detail, then they can do that. But all we ask for from them is their email address so that we can have a relationship with them. So it just depends on on the needs that people have for the content that we've got on our websites, and to the extent that they might have to actually give us their email address to get a certain part of the content. The truth is, you don't actually need to sign up for anything on our website to get full value out of it. We don't hold anything back. It's just that we had opportunities to curate and compile and organize some of our materials in a way that we could deliver it in, say, as an extension kit or a do-it-yourself visa kit, or sign up for the top-line content that we've got called Schooling the Lawyers. There's half a dozen little sort of initiatives like this we've got across our websites that afford an opportunity for visitors to stop being mere drive-by visitors and start knocking on the door, so to speak, and introducing themselves by giving us their email address.
Now, how does this differ in your approach with intelligent content marketing in terms of the content that you're providing?
Well, it's exactly the same. So we have, but just on a different level of detail because of the nature of intelligent content marketing and what value we're actually delivering. With intelligent content marketing, we're not selling a service. With intelligent content marketing, we're basically seeking to make an idea spread. And in order to make the idea spread, we need to have relationships with people. So we have a video called Monopoly, How to Build One from Nothing with No Money Invested, which basically sets out in 10 parts how you can go about devising an intelligent content marketing strategy, understanding that in the context of my story and the story of the Hong Kong Visa Center. And then if that piques your interest, then you're invited to come and sign up for the Encyclopedia of Intelligent Content Marketing, which is a membership site that's completely free. All we need is your first name and your email address. And then you get access to another 300 or something videos and 100 and something infographics, plus more and more content being added every week. So that's like the definitive go-to place on the internet if you're interested in this concept called intelligent content marketing. And because you have to be a member and we've got your email address, we can communicate and we can correspond with you. And we engage in permission marketing. We respect our subscribers, no end. So we don't spam people. We only deliver value. That's the game. So, the applicability of the ideas that you see in Hong Kong Visa Centre apply absolutely in intelligent content marketing, and indeed every other niche when you get right down to it. It's just a question of configuring those ideas and understanding those ideas and configuring the various tools and techniques and the elements of your websites to be able to, dovetail squarely into the best way of, manifesting an opportunity to have a relationship with somebody.
Now, I've done lots of quirky things in my life, and the usual question always raises its head. How are you going to make money from it? Oh, I'm going to do a radio station. How are you going to make money from it? We're going to do the icons, those calendars. How are you going to make cash out of it? So the question that I've been dying to ask you is intelligent content marketing. How are you going to make money out of it?
Okay, so we will make money in two ways. Firstly, there's the implied and intrinsic value of being the owner of that idea virus, intelligent content marketing. Because when the idea spreads, then you become the de facto expert in that niche. And once you become the de facto expert in that niche, people will beat a path to your door ready to give you money for one reason or another. No idea how that will actually turn into a manifested cash proposition. Less important to me than anything, to be quite honest. I just know that experience tells me if you get your idea to spread, you share generously with others how you're doing it, empower them to be able to copy you and apply that stuff, to their niche. You win. You win. That's just the order of the day with the connection economy. But more concretely, we have an initiative called Monopoly the Planner. And the Monopoly the Planner is a series of videos that I've shot with one of my old business partners, who in many ways is similar to me. He's a professional in Hong Kong, well-educated, has got a particular niche that he's in prime position to dominate if he puts a very, very good content proposition out there. It's designed to answer questions and help solve problems. His niche is to assist bankers and investment managers who need to have licenses issued by the Securities and Futures Commission in Hong Kong. They have to pass examinations to get those licenses. And this gentleman, David Bruce, is the only guy really in Hong Kong that's got the expertise to teach people how to pass those exams. So long and the short of it is that I've spent the last 11 weeks on Saturday mornings going through a 36-chapter initiative where the team came in and we videoed me against a whiteboard, basically educating David as to everything that he would ever need to know to turn intelligent content marketing into an actionable strategy for him. And I've been teaching him how to do all of that. And so we've developed a whole line of content around that. And that's going to be an information product that we will be selling. Probably start selling it in about 3 months when it's fully developed. And there we're going to sell it for $2,500 US. The information will be delivered over the course of 10 weeks, one module a week, and you pay your money up front. For the first 4 weeks, you get all the material, and during those first 4 weeks, one-click, 100% money back guarantee. You have a complete refund if after 4 weeks you're not getting any value out of the material. You get your refund, you can keep the material that we've already sent you. And so that's how we're going to directly monetize intelligent content marketing. And it makes sense to sort of monetize as you can, and we are going to do that. But actually, the content that we're producing in that fashion is of such a high value. It's very immediately actionable. It's the kind of stuff that really should command a cash purchase price.
So anybody who has a business at any stage established or thinking of establishing a business can visit intelligentcontent.marketing and glean loads and loads of information that they would enable themselves to set themselves on a good course.
Well, by the middle of this year, there will be a minimum of 700 or 800 pieces of content, half of which will be video, based on the Intelligent Content Marketing website and also on the Encyclopedia of Intelligent Content Marketing. So, and we're going to continue to add to that on an ongoing basis. In addition to that, we have the Monopoly Planner, which you will pay $2,500 for. You get all your money back in the first 4 weeks via a single click. If you decide you don't want to get this stuff anymore. And you also get, as part of having purchased that, you'll get access to other material and information that we'll be developing and sharing, sort of the next level secrets with people. In sort of the inner tribe, there'll be the outer tribe and the inner tribe. And the inner tribe will be those who invest $2,500 in the miniature of the expertise and ongoing insights that the outer tribe will not be able to access. And the outer tribe will still have access to 90% of all our content anyway. It's just that this stuff is of a higher caliber, and if you want it, by all means, come and try it. And if you like it, you'll stick with it. If not, we'll give you your money back, and you can keep what you've already learned anyway. So that's where you get 40% of it free, come what may.
Sure. Well, thanks very much, Stephen. Will we catch up with you next Friday from Hong Kong again, or are you traveling?
No, I'll be here, and hopefully there won't be any banging then.
Look forward to chatting to you then. Have an absolutely awesome weekend, and next Friday it is then.
Thank you very much, kind sir.
Take care. Bye.